Well, hello there, people. Merry Christmas to you all. Ho, 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 ho. And welcome back to my channel. Today, I wanted to give you a little update on the Bluesmoke issue on Overrun that I've been having on my freshly rebuilt Cosworth engine in my lovely Moonstone Blue Cosworth. I'm not too sure of what I'm going to show you here, apart from just showing you my actual findings, and also maybe just show you real quick how I did this ValveStemSeal replacement, which is obviously what I have been doing here. Because in my previous video, I took you along for a little diagnostic session where I used this inspection camera to see behind the inlet valves to see if I could see any oil residue on the back side of the valve head, and I could see that, and that led me to think that, well, at least I have a valve stem seal or a valve guide issue. So I decided to replace the valve stem seals because that is a job you can do without more work than this. You don't have to take the engine apart. And that is another thing that I'm going to show you. Like afterwards, we've been having a little look at the stem seals that I have removed from this engine. And as you can see, I have completed the work, so I do not have the new parts to show you. I only have the old stem seals, so they don't look exactly pretty, but I have taken out I used the best examples here to do my measures when I did the measures of the new ones that I had, or that I have put in, and the old ones. You can see they're pretty much round, so I was able to get a pretty good measurement of the diameter here. One of my theories before starting this work were that maybe my engine builder put in the exhaust and inlet valve stem seals in the wrong side, like putting the exhaust ones on the inlet side and vice versa. I found out now that that is not possible because the diameter of these two seals are different, so you can't fit an exhaust stem seal on the inlet side and vice versa. They won't fit. The one would be a loose fit and the other one won't fit at all. So that is ruled out of the equation. I am left with my engine builder either scoring the inside of the new valve stem seals when he mounted them, or I have poor quality valve stem seals. How you should mount a valve stem seal is to use like a sleeve like this. You can make them out of a shrink tube like I did, and you put that shrink tube or sucking straw or whatever over the valve, so when you're pushing the valve stem seal over this edge here or the ridge, you won't scratch up the inside of the valve stem seal, which can have happened in this case, but I am not able to confirm that because I couldn't get him off without scratching him. So it is a possibility, because it is very weird that I only had issues on like a couple of cylinders and not all of them. I only had an issue on cylinder 1, 2 and 4, and only one valve per cylinder actually. Even though I haven't checked the exhaust valve stem seals, but they are not under suspicion because there's no vacuum on the exhaust side like it is on the inlet side. As long as I only had the Bluesmoke on Overrun, that means there's vacuum on that side drawing oil past the inlet valve stem seals. So that leaves me with basically the quality of the stem seals, and as you can see, the measurements that I did here, the new ones that I mounted, which were L-ring ones, which are very nice brand of sealing rings and gaskets, supposedly original like Ford ones, but I don't know if Ford has L-ring. But anyways, they are L-ring and they're a brand of high quality. I measured the inlet ones to 6mm and the used ones, you can see here, to 6.5. So 0.5 millimeters larger diameter That is a lot when you consider how small dimensions we're talking about here. And with these being like 0.5 millimeter larger, it is quite a lot. And I think that might be the culprit. And as you can see on the exhaust ones, the new ones that I put in were about 7 millimeters. The used one were 7.2. That isn't that much. So I'm sticking to my theory here that it is poor quality stem seals that may have caused this Bluesmoke and Overrun issue. Another thing that I'm pretty disappointed in seeing is that I bought this as a kit with like a complete engine kit with Victor Rein's head gasket, Victor Rein's seals, and I really thought that these were Victor Rein's stem seals, but it turns out that they are not. If it was Victor Rein's ones, it would say Victor Rein's on top, on the top edge there. It would say on top there, not on the side. But on these, it doesn't say anything. There's not a single number or brand or whatever on them. So these are no name brand sealing rings, and I hate it when I get no name brand parts. It's just a sign of them being cheap and of a poor quality. So that leaves me with saying that, well, things are the way they are. And I'm crossing my fingers that when I now start up the car and going through a little heat cycle, that it will show that my Bluesmoke issue is not there anymore. And I will update you when I do that. Now I just want to talk real quick how I did the work in itself with replacing these Valvestem seals, because you can do it without taking the head off. And I used the hack method, even though the correct method is to put pressure into the cylinder while you're changing the stem seals, making sure that the valves won't fall into the cylinder. But I don't trust that method. I'm just so afraid of losing air pressure, or just when you're pushing down the valve to release the retainer, that the pressure will drop and the valve will fall in. So I decided to dig in and see if there were any other ways of doing it, and I found this hack method to be perfect. I am confident that you don't damage anything inside the engine when using this. This is a nylon rope. You should make sure that you use a nylon rope if you're using this method, because there would be no debris coming off of this rope, and it is very solid and it's soft, and it dampens when this is in the cylinder and it's being pushed up towards the valves. It wouldn't damage anything. And one thing you have to remember before you say that, well, that's a shit method, is that often you forget that when the valves are unloaded like this, they're not sticking out like they would if the cams were on. So when they're unloaded, they are sitting up in their valve seat. So when you now then put in the rope is just making sure that the valves are still in the valve seat. So you're not bending anything, you're just giving it a push so they're staying where they are and not falling into the cylinder. So it's a perfectly nice and sound method of doing this job. Just make sure you're using new nylon rope with no contamination on it. The other thing is that this is the tool, a very cheap tool that I got for this job only. We don't have this type of tool where I work. So I bought this, very simple setup. Make sure you use a magnet down there when you pop off the retainers. To loosen up the retainers, you don't just pull the valve spring down, you have to give it a knock to break it free in a way. And you should also pay attention to covering up all the holes around here, so if the retainer pops out, it won't fall into the engine and you're losing it. It's better to lose it out on the ground than into the engine. So just make sure that you remember to cover up every hole here before you're doing any work on each valve. Better to be safe than sorry. So, people, I think that is about it. I have a lot of other stuff to do with this car now when it's Christmas holidays. I've took some extra days off work to work on my car, so I'm pretty excited to do some work now, even though I wish that I didn't have to do this type of work, which is kind of unnecessary when it's just been rebuilt. So it kind of sucks, but you have to stay positive, and it's soon to be 2020, year 2020, so I'm looking forward to the next season, and it's gonna be great. So anyways, I hope that covers it. If you do have any comments or questions or likes or even dislikes, put them down below in the comment section, and I will be happy to read about them there. So again, thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you guys in my future videos where I will cover the solution to this when I get my ass in gear. So until then, I hope you have a great day, and see you guys later. Bye bye bye. See ya. Whoop. Bye bye.